Hi everyone, Jody Kochi here from St. Mary's University of Minnesota. We're going to talk some more about the Qualitative Reading Inventory 6th edition. Two previous training modules talked about finding the instructional, independent, and frustration levels for oral accuracy, and then another one on finding those same levels for oral and listening comprehension. This training module is going to take a look at fluency. We're actually going to look at two different ways of looking at fluency. The materials that you'll need are available on Blackboard as a download. You can ask your instructor if you don't know where they are. The one on the left is one that we've used for the other two training modules, so you might have that one handy. And the other one is the Hasbrook and Tyndall Oral Fluency Norms. If you're taking one of our classes, this might be in your testing binder. Usually it's copied in blue. Otherwise, it's available in various forms. If you just Google Hasbrook and Tyndall Fluency Norms, you'll find a whole bunch of different charts that all have the same data. This one happens to be from Read Naturally. It's organized really well, so that's why we use this one. So the two ways that we're going to look at fluency is kind of a non-standard way and then a more traditional way. The first way, we're going to compare the student's fluency at his or her instructional reading level, and we're going to compare that to, we're going to find where that would be an average score at what grade level. And then the second way is, as I said, the more traditional way. We're going to time the student for 1 minute, just as you do on Ames, Web, or Dibbles, or FAST, or any of those. And we are going to then look at that student's grade level in whatever testing window, fall, winter, spring, and find out where that words per minute correct falls. So let's take a look at the first way, which is kind of a non-standard way, but I think a useful way of looking at the fluency. Here we've got the completed chart cover sheet, and you'll notice right here we have all of our oral reading accuracy data and our words per minute correct. So what we want to look at, this is where it's going to, you're going to fill it in. So what we're going to look at is where was this student's instructional level on oral accuracy? And in this case, it happened to be the primer level. So we're going to look at how many words per minute correct they read at their instructional level. And that is actually going to go right here. Then we're going to use our Hasbrook and Tyndall Fluency Norm data, and we are going to look for where 96 words per minute would fall into one of these average 50th percentile grade bands. And I see 92 words per minute correct, which is close to 96. Let's see if we can get closer. Here's 94, and I don't think we're going to see anything that's closer than that. So we're going to use that one. So looking at 94 words per minute correct is in the 50th percentile, or the solidly average range, in fall of 4th grade. So that's simply what we're going to put right here. Now you may ask, so what exactly is that saying? Well, 96 words per minute, we could say that the student that we just tested is reading at the same rate as a student in the fall of 4th grade. So when we think about this student being a 10th grader, his achievement at reading 96 words per minute is like a kiddo in the fall of 4th grade. So that's pretty significantly below where he should be. So that's kind of the non-standard way of looking at fluency. The other way is obviously the more traditional way. This is what you would do if you were administering Ames, Web, or Dibbles, or any of those oral reading fluency norms. They're all curriculum-based assessments, in other words, a grade level probe. If the student hasn't read a grade level passage in the course of your testing for oral accuracy and comprehension, choose a passage at the student's grade level. Let me skip down to the bottom. If the student already read a grade level passage in the course of your testing, You don't have to administer another one. You can just use that information, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But if you have to administer a new one, you're going to time the student reading the passage for 1 minute. They aren't going to read the entire passage, and they aren't going to answer any comprehension questions. They're simply going to read for 1 minute. You're going to count how many errors they make during that time, and you'll mark the last word read. So you'll compute words per minute correct, and that simply is how many words did they read altogether, and subtract how many errors or deviations from print. And you're also going to compute the accuracy. So you're going to take those total words that they read correctly and divide it by the total words read. And I'll show you an example because that seems a little foggy there. So here we've got student one's example sheet. And because the student is a 10th grader, normally we would administer a high school passage because I hadn't gotten that far. Now, if you have a student who was testing higher than this and you got up this far and you have data for here, don't give another one. Just use that information. But you can see where we're going to put it. And we're going to use our fluency norm chart. So we, this time, are going to look at the fall. Let me get over here. We're going to look at, at the winter of 8th grade if the student is an 8th grader. If the student is older than an 8th grader, you're still going to use the 8th grade norms. If the student is younger than that, you use whatever grade level they are. And we're going to use winter norms because we are giving this test in January. And then this is the band that we are going to look for. Where does our students' words per minute correct fall? So if where their fluency falls is between 2 percentile bands, we're not going to guess. We're going to actually state that it's between these two. So here's our example. John's in 6th grade, and his oral instructional levels for accuracy and comprehension didn't get up to 6th grade, so we have to administer a 1-minute CBA. So we're going to pick a 6th grade passage, have John read it for 1 minute while we time him. We're going to count his errors, and then you're going to mark the final word he read. So if John read a total of 105 words, 7 of them were errors or deviations from print, you just subtract and you get 98 words per minute correct. Okay, so when we look at the fluency norm chart, as I said, we are going to use winter of 6th grade because he's a 6th grader, and 98 words per minute correct falls in between these two scores, which is between the 25th percentile and the 10th percentile. So we could make a statement that says, on a timed 1-minute reading of a grade level passage, John read 98 words per minute correctly, which falls between the 10th and the 25th percentile according to the Hasbrook and Tyndall fluency norms. We don't want to guess because we don't know what percentile 98 actually is. I mean, we could be wildly off, so it's safer just to say that it's between these two bands. The other thing that you're going to do is compute the accuracy, and you've been doing this. So from our earlier example, if you read 105 words, 7 errors, we subtracted and got 98 words per minute correct. To find the accuracy, you're going to divide the total words read correctly per minute, which was that 98, and you're going to divide it by the total words read. Okay, so 98 divided by 105 is 93.33 something or other. So I'm going to round it down to 93% accuracy. And you'll notice that that is frustration. So we are going to, I kind of blew this up over here. This is where we're going to add our data. You're going to compute, or you already did, you're going to add the 98 words per minute correct on the grade level test. So in other words, on a 6th grade passage, and his accuracy was 93%. Something that I want to talk about quickly is if you have a student like this student, student one, where his frustration level was so far below his grade level. In other words, he reached frustration at first grade. He was instructional at a primer. I don't think it really serves a useful purpose to make him read a 1-minute timed high school reading since he's frustration at fourth grade. So if I choose in my professional opinion not to administer it, that is where I am going to put not established here. And then in my report, I would explain why I didn't administer those. So that actually is a completed QRI cover sheet. You've got your initial testing, which was the word lists to find where to start the passages. You have oral reading accuracy and fluency. We have our oral comprehension and our listening comprehension. So we have all of this information, which should give us a great place to look for where we need to start instruction with this student. That's all I have for this. Be sure to check out the other 2 training videos on the Qualitative Reading Inventory 6th edition. Oral accuracy was the first one and comprehension was the second one. Thanks for tuning in.